going to do first is we're going to square these strings. Come over here. Okay, look down over where those strings cross. Okay, this X right here is going to be the corner of the house. Okay, so you mark them off with overlapping strings. As you can see, right along this edge, I've got a little square, and this string is perpendicular to that side. As you can see, it's way off square. By the time you go 30 feet, it'd probably be 2.5 feet off square. But this is roughly marked out 30 foot by 60 foot. So the first step is to square off these X marks in the string. So what we'll have to do is go down to the other end and move this string over this way to roughly square it. And then we're going to use the 3-4-5 method, and we'll get into that when it's time. Okay, so I'm just going to sight down the string, get a shot right down the straight string, until it's about square with my carpenter square. Okay, that looks pretty close. I'll just tap it in for a second and then go a little bit more. Now this might get a little redundant, but like I said, I'm doing every step, every little step, so that someone who has absolutely no experience whatsoever in anything to do with building is going to be able to do this if they need to.
So a little bit over.
Okay, that looks pretty close. Let's check it. All right. Okay, yeah, that's pretty close.
As you can see, it's like exactly on with that.
So now, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our tape measure. All right, so we've just roughly squared this corner, and then, okay, let me back up a second and just say, this is going to be the front edge of the house. Okay, so to square a building, what you need to do is you need to establish one straight line that you're going to use to square off of. For me, it's going to be this front line right here. So I'm going to square both of these sides off of this front line, and then automatically the back line should square itself, but I'll still make sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the 3-4-5 method, and what that is you measure from this intersection 3 feet one direction, and then from the intersection 4 feet the other direction, and then you take a tape measure in between the 2 points, and it should equal 5 feet. Now you can use any increment of 3, 4, 5. Alright, so any increment of 3, 4, 5 is going to be okay. You know, 6, 8, 10, so forth and so on. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our tape measure here, my old crap tape measure.
But the whole point is we're just using what we have.
Using what we've got. I shouldn't even have bought these stakes from Lowe's. They were $6 for 6 of them.
That's crazy.
Okay.
So $1 a stake.
I just cut this from a little dogwood tree with an axe for, it cost me, what, 5 seconds of sweat.
So basically we made our first mistake.
It won't happen again. So I'm just using a black permanent marker. Okay, and I'm going to go 4 feet this direction. Now I've got these lines pretty tight. Now we're going to go 3 feet this direction.
That's our baby yelling in the background, by the way.
Without bending the line too much. actually not at all. Let me just recheck my other line. I think I was a little off.
Not much.
Yeah, not much, but to be perfectly square.
Yeah.
Alright, now we're going to go between those 2 points, and it should equal 5 feet. If it doesn't, we'll make a small adjustment. Now make sure you line up one edge of the tape measure with your marks. The same edge on both points.
Is it 5 feet?
Right on 5 feet.
Woohoo!
So that is a perfectly square corner. If you wanted to make sure it's, within 1/32 or something like that over a huge span, you could go up to, let's say, times 5. So 15, 20, 25.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go, and that would give you a super precise, but I just have this little tape measure, and it won't go that far. You can also measure, when you're done squaring like this, you can measure from corner to corner on these X points, and both measurements from this corner to that corner diagonally, and then the other corner to corner should be exactly the same as each other. And then you know you're perfectly square. Alright, so we came over to the opposite side, this side right here, and we roughly squared the strings with the square like we did the other side. And now I'm ready to do the 3, 4, 5 method. See how close we got. Now remember, don't deflect the strings. Don't pull them way out, or your measurements will be wrong.
Yeah, that's something like I would do, I think.
Which it doesn't matter. If you're a 1/2 inch off, unless you're doing drywall and stuff like that, you're not going to really notice.
Yeah.
And even with drywall, there's, a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch fudge factor because of, the corners, the tops and bottoms and things being covered up by molding and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
alright.
There's always a little error built into it.
Marker's not working so good.
I think it's me that's not working so good. Now 4 feet on this side.
We're kind of out of bed. All right.
See how close we got.
It is the test. Exactly, right?
No.
Or is it a little off?
It's a little off. It's about 3/8 of an inch off.
Oh, from over there it looks perfect.
So, let's remeasure. It's hard to do this by yourself because you can't tell if you're deflecting the string.
Yeah. And I've got the camera. So.
Yeah, see, I was deflecting the string.
Well, we demonstrated our point then, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep, see, it's off.
Okay.
Get out your handy dandy marker again. No deflecting. see how off you were, yeah?
That's a good 3/4 of an inch
I
to
don't know
an
if you guys
inch.
can see that or not, but see, it makes a difference.
Okay, there's my mark.
I talk like I know about things. Yeah, right there. Oh, sorry, I was not even focusing.
It's hard to get it kind of 5 feet.
Woohoo!
Right on it.
Good.
All right, now we'll just do the back corner and we'll have a square structure to start from.
Woohoo!
Okay, so we're going to mark out for the 16-inch wide trench for the footer. So what we need to do, since this is going to be our wall and the edge of our 8-inch cinder block, okay, so let's say, let's take a tape measure, and a cinder block is not exactly 8 inches, but it is 8 inches after the mortar, but we'll just do 8 inches because it will be close enough. So right there's 8 inches. So this string is effectively at the edge of an 8-inch cinder block. So that's going to be the edge of our wall. So your edge of the cinder block is going to be there. All this is cinder block. Okay, so we need 4 inches to each side of the 8-inch cinder block to make our 16-inch trench. To make the cinder block exactly in the center of that footer. And we'll just go through and we'll mark that all the way down and measure it and make sure we're good. So we've got...
This seems kind of complicated.
Yeah, it's not easy. So we've got, let's see, 12 inches on this side, and we should have 4 inches on this side, which we do. So that's how you'll mark out for your footers. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around and mark 4 inches, maybe a little more, because it's not going to hurt anything. You're not going to be paying for that much more concrete if you're a 1/2 inch off or so. So it's not going to be like an expensive thing if you're digging a little bit too wide. So we'll just go and mark 4 inches all the way through. Without deflecting the string.
Not as hard as I thought, I guess. Maybe a little tedious, but...
Alright. And you know, we'll continue that all the way down and all the way around the entire perimeter. Unless you're going to be laying out for, you know, a porch or something like that you're going to include in the foundation. But I'll just dig little individual footers for posts for our porch. I'm not going to lay foundation for anything like that. And this house is a perfect rectangle, so it's just going to be a rectangular trench all the way around. So we'll go 4 inches on the outside of the whole thing, and then what we'll do is we'll come 12 inches to the inside of the entire thing.
So then you've got your trench,
So
right?
then we've got our corner right there.
See, this all is starting to make sense to me. I'm a little slow when it comes to this kind of stuff, but this seems pretty easy.
So right there is our corner of our trench. Now if we come to this side and do the 4 inches, you can see our box. All of this will be dug out. and we'll just continue the 12 inches on this side all the way around the inside of the perimeter. And then what we'll do is we'll start at the very highest corner, and I'll go down 28 inches, because here in southern Missouri, it's going to be different everywhere. Here in southern Missouri, our frost line is 18 inches. The coldest that it's ever been recorded in the last like 100 years at 20 inches deep was 35 degrees, I believe. So your footer needs to be 8 full inches thick of concrete. It also needs to be below that 20-inch mark to be below the frost line. So we're going 28 inches to allow for the depth of the 8-inch footer. That way the entire footer is never going to shift, it's never going to move, because that ground will never freeze and thaw. That's what gives you your settling and movement, is thawing and freezing, thawing and freezing. That's what makes the ground shift. Marking all this up. I already showed how it's done, so it's kind of tedious and monotonous to sit here and watch. So until then, we'll catch you later.